Welcome back, everybody. If you're new, my name's Nicholas, and this is Investing Against the Grain. If you want, help the channel out, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, and hopefully it helps the channel out. All right, so let's talk about today. A lot of things going on. We'll just start off with the headline news that essentially just broke about an hour ago. Elon Musk, Twitter, they both went to court today, and it looks like Twitter kind of won with regards to getting a speedy trial. So Twitter wanted to do it, I guess, early September. Turns out it's going to be in October. So in a way, Twitter won, Elon 0. But this is just about whether or not there should be a speedy trial. So we'll see what happens from here. So I wouldn't take this to mean anything. There's still a lot that's going to have to happen. My estimation at this point is that they'll somehow settle at a lower price than the, $54.20 a share for Twitter. And then they'll maybe 45, maybe 44, I don't know. They'll settle at a lower price instead of actually going to court is my estimation what will happen. So we'll leave that there. I do want to share my screen for a second here. So take a look at this. This is Tesla stock. You can see that it's actually up. It's doing pretty good. Let me see. If I move this over here a little bit, you can see Tesla's up about $10. If we look up Twitter, let's just look up Twitter real quick. I think Twitter's up as well. Yeah, so Twitter's up about 4%. So not too bad. Tesla's up about 0.5%. And overall, the market is definitely up a lot more. So I don't think that any of this really means anything. I don't think that this is, an indication of anything against or for Tesla or against or for Twitter. It's just the next step in this process. Now, my opinion, I'm happy that they're going to do this sooner than later because I want to get this over with. Either Elon's going to buy Twitter or he's not. Either Twitter has a bot issue or they don't. Let's just get through this. Let's move on. Let's get past this noise. I feel like for the last year, we've been dealing with Elon having to sell shares for tax reasons, okay? Makes sense. Out of his control. All right, cool. And then we get in January, we find out about, okay, the Fed's moving from transitory to it's not transitory. Now we have an inflation problem. Okay, so we dealt with that for all of January and really we're still dealing with that. And then we hit February and we dealt with Russia invading Ukraine. Okay, here's some more noise, right? And then we get Elon Musk putting a bid to buy Twitter. Well, then people freak out about Elon selling shares. Luckily, this time he sold them real quick. He didn't drag it out like he did last time, and we were able to move past that. But now here we are, just more drama, more things going on. It's been almost a year of just all this kind of chaos. Now, I'm not saying that this is Elon's fault by any means. He had to sell shares for taxes. He obviously has no control over what the Fed does and their terminology with inflation, transitory, all that. Elon obviously has no effect with regards to Russia, Ukraine. He's just helping Ukraine, if anything, with Starlink. And then, of course, with this whole Twitter drama, right? None of this part would have even came up had Twitter not changed their 10Q filing to report a lower or a higher rate of, bots within as Twitter users. So again, either way, I mean, even right now I'm looking at it, Tesla seems to be rallying a little bit here. We're up $12 now. But the point is, it's been nothing but tumultuous for us. And then, I forgot to add into all of that, right? We had the zero COVID policy in Shanghai, so Tesla had the shutdown. So I mean, man, like seriously, for all of you watching, and all of those who held on to Tesla throughout this entire time, you are hardening yourself. Okay, you are hardening yourself for what is to come, and what's to come, I think, are going to be good times. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a non-bumpy road, but it's essentially it's like everybody went through this process of learning how to deal with all this volatility, and it's things that as long as you stay in the market and you continue investing, you don't just give up, walk away, and say I'm never investing again. It's going to be what defines you as an investor moving forward. Some of you've gone through this in the 80s. You went through this during 01. You went through this during 07 to 09. And here we are again, right? And this time, honestly, it's not even as bad as what those were. Although some predict that it will be much, much worse. And we see that a lot, right? I mean, I kind of get annoyed with all of these this might turn a little event session for me, but I get a little annoyed with a lot of these YouTubers just writing, crisis, or, you must see this, or emergency, or just like all these kind of like fear mongering, clickable YouTube channels and videos. And look, I get it. Everybody's got to do their own thing. I get a lot of people use YouTube like this and they have a channel and the whole point of it is for them to monetize and it's how they pay their bills and things of that nature. I'm fortunate where that's not the case for me, but so I almost like respect that to a certain degree. But at the same time, it seems sleazy. It seems like you're just trying to create fear for no reason and just to make people click on your videos. And then it turns out you actually are a little more pragmatic. So anyways, my whole point is we've had a tumultuous year. And so I'm ready for us to get past tomorrow and move on to hopefully a 6 months, 7 months, or, a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years of just kind of smooth sailing, at least in comparison to what we've dealt with in the last year. So that brings us to talking about tomorrow. Tomorrow is arguably a big day / non-event. All right, what do I mean by that? Well, clearly tomorrow's a big day because it's Q2 earnings for Tesla. But a lot of what people expect has already been priced in. People are predicting not great numbers. People are predicting a drop in margins. People are predicting Tesla to really have a bad quarter compared to what they've had in the last few quarters. However, it's a big day because if Tesla can continue to say, or mainly Zach or Elon, if they can continue to say that they still anticipate hitting a 50% year-over-year growth, that is bullish. That will send the stock higher, in my opinion. Now, this is financial advice. If we can get Drew to say that the 4680 battery ramp up they had issues before, had some bottlenecks and all that, but they've worked through that and they expect meaningful ramp up moving forward, that would be bullish. If Elon can say that we are at 200,000+ FSD beta testers compared to 100,000, a quarter ago, or 250, etc., that would be bullish. And I think all of these things would send the stock higher. So tomorrow is a good chance for Tesla to be able to ride on the fact that people have already downplayed this quarter and leverage it for an excitement over the next 6 to 18 months. So to me, this is an opportunity for Zach, Drew, and Elon. So hopefully they take advantage of it. Now, with that said, analysts, naysayers, they will do what they do, and there's nothing we can do about that. We have to see through the BS and go from there, right? It's almost going to be like clockwork. I promise you Thursday morning, we'll see probably like Gene Munster and Gordon Johnson on CNBC, and Gordon Johnson's going to be like, oh, look, they're losing demand, and nobody wants to buy their stuff, and we're starting to see this compression, yada, 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 BS, right? We're going to see that. There's going to be no nuance, and Gene's going to sit there and just be the docile guy he is and not really meet Gordon up at his level. So just take it all with a grain of salt. So tomorrow's a big deal and not a big deal, as I said. Now, the real big deal, in my opinion, is going to be after tomorrow, or I guess really starting Thursday morning, all the way up until August 4th. What's happening there? Well, big thing on the 27th of July is going to be when the Fed announces their rate hikes. Now, after we got that 9.1 inflation rate, we expected, or it seemed like the odds of a 1% or 100 basis point increase on the rates seemed very likely, or a higher chance than before. However, now it seems like things have moderated, and it looks like the odds are almost, it's like Vegas, right? What are the odds? But it seems like the odds are leaning towards a 75 basis point rate hike, or 0.75%. So I think if they do 75 basis point, I think the market will see that as bullish as well, especially because what that says is that the Fed is taking a measured approach, that they're being a little more conservative. They don't want to pendulum swing too far to one side, especially off of lagging data, just to find out, oh, okay, that was lagging data. We should have known that. It was very obvious. Nobody doesn't know that. And we reacted to it essentially 2 months later. So you get what I'm saying? Like, it's hopefully the Fed takes a measured approach. If the Fed takes a measured approach, I think that this will be bullish for the market, because the market will see this as the Fed potentially starting to slow down or pause and see, which I think will be very important, and I think it will be vindicated the very next day. The reason that they'll be vindicated the very next day is because the next day we'll find out what Q2 GDP was. Now, Q2 GDP is going to determine whether or not we are in a technical recession or not. Now, you've probably seen all week, all last week, everybody on the news is saying, well, two negative GDPs, it's a technical recession, but it's not really a recession with this type of unemployment. And they talk about you need other listen, this is the word salad, word play, the spin that you see after debates with politicians and primaries and presidential elections. This is the spin that you see whether you watch Fox News about the left or whether you watch MSNBC, CNN about the right. It's just the same thing. It's the spin. And the reason you need to ignore it is because if we have 2 quarters of negative GDP, I promise you, I don't care what the Fed says. I don't care what the White House says, what any entity says. The stock market will tell you we are in a recession. In fact, the stock market has been telling us we're in a recession for the last 6 months. I've been telling you since February. So don't discount it. However, egos need to be checked and we need some humility. Keep in mind that not all Feds believe that we are going to have negative GDP. What do I mean by this? Well, we see that the Georgia Fed believes that we're going to have about negative 2% for Q2. Where other Feds think that it might be positive, even 4% growth. So let's just be humble. Doesn't mean that just because we think something, right, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. Doesn't mean we're right. We could all be wrong. We never know when we're right until afterwards. So take it with a bit of humility. But if we do get 2 negative GDPs, and it does signal a technical recession, which is the new term for all the media outlets, well, then Jerome Powell will essentially be vindicated with only doing 75 basis points versus a whole percentage or a whole 1 point or 100 points, 1 percentage point rate hike. So a lot going on here. But okay, so Tesla, right? Let's go back to Tesla. Talk about the stock. Again, at the end of the day, this channel is about investing against the grain. And for those of you who are new, maybe don't know, the reason it's called investing against the grain is because I do not believe in diversification. I believe find the right company, invest in that company. Warren Buffett is one of the people that I grew up reading and learning about and essentially kind of grew my fascination, passion for investing, which is why I'm financially independent today. But something he said was, all you need is, 10 great stock picks in your life. And then you can make a lot of money, essentially, right? You can make a crazy amount of wealth. And so the point is, his point was, if you could only ever invest in 10 companies your entire life, you would do so much research and due diligence instead of going in and out of all of these transactions, all of this day trading, all that stuff. Nothing against day trading. It's just not my style. But the point is doing your homework, understanding companies, understanding where their revenue comes from, what their margins are, how the business works, what advantages do they have, etc. And so I've done that with Apple. I've done that with Amazon. And now I'm doing it with Tesla. It's what led me to financial independence. So anyways, with that said, I think Tesla is the company that we need to really focus on for the next 10 years, 20 years easily. To me, it's a no-brainer. None of this financial advice, again, just one engineer's opinion. Anyways, so getting back to it. So 27th, we get the Fed news. On the 28th, we find out about GDP. Tomorrow, we find out about Tesla Q2. But then August 4th, we have the annual shareholder meeting. Now, I should be going to it. I did get the confirmation that I was selected. I sent in my ID so I can get my ticket. Haven't got my ticket yet, so they started going out, I think, last night. So hopefully I get my ticket soon. And stay tuned, too, because I'll be, maybe I'll put like a short out or something. But I plan on meeting up with Farzad, my wife and I, or my fiance and I. Wife, yeah, okay. Cat's out of the bag, or cat's out of the bag on that one. Anyways, we'll be meeting up with Farzad and his wife, so very excited to meet him, grab a beer, grab some lunch. But anyways, why would I be in Austin? Well, it's for the shareholder meeting. And at the shareholder meeting is when the actual vote will take place regarding the stock split of a 3-to-1 stock split for TSLA, Tesla stock. So as of right now, we're sitting here at 733. So a 3-for-1 stock split will be pretty nice. So I think leading up to that, plus whatever the Fed does, plus whatever these GDP numbers are, I think will be very bullish. And so again, this is kind of a thesis I'm playing out. I talked about in my last video. The reason I think Tesla might actually break out into a very bullish run is because Q2, if we can thread the needle with Drew talking about batteries the way he should, Zach talking about 50% growth, and Elon talking about FSD, user growth, all that, that would be a win. forget about the numbers. Other than, margins, let's make sure that we're anywhere from 26% up. It's a win. Okay, so I think that tomorrow should be a layup for them. It's theirs to screw up. That's what it is. It's a wide open layup down the court, no defenders in sight. The 27th with the Fed, I think 75 basis point, the market will see that as bullish as the Fed slowing down, maybe getting ready to turn a little bit. I think the 28th, seeing a negative GDP will ensure, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my goodness, I can't speak today. And I'm not going to edit this out because this is raw and this is stream of consciousness. It'll confirm, thank you, jeez, took a second. It'll confirm the fact that we are in a recession, even if it's a technical recession. And why is that a good thing? Because right now we're at a point where bad news is good news. And this bad news, being a recession, would essentially cement the idea of the Fed taking it back a little bit, right? Stopping, being patient, waiting, seeing what happens. And of course, if we fall into a recession, that means we'll lower demand. And this whole inflation situation we are in is from a lack of supply. So if we get into a recession, that means less demand, which means you give supply a chance to catch up. Again, that's bullish. And then obviously the stock split, I think that'll be bullish. I know stock split does not change the value of a company, but what it does do, and it's undeniable, is it increases the TAM, the total addressable market for shareholders out there. People who only have, say, $1,000 to invest, well, they don't want to invest into a stock that costs $730. Sure, you can buy fractional shares. Guess what? Nobody likes doing that, right? It's basic psychology. Go ask anybody. Go ask anyone younger. They don't want to buy a fraction of a share. However, you do a 3-for-1 stock split, and people can buy shares for around $200, $300 a share. Well, they'll take that 1,000, buy 3 shares of Tesla because they believe in the company. So I think there's a lot of bullishness to come here. And then you can throw in AI Day at the end of September. You can throw in October with the Twitter news. No matter how that goes, as long as Elon just have to sell more shares, then I think that'll be seen as positive because we can get over this Twitter overhang. Whether you think there's an overhang or not, the point is the drama will be behind us. Just like the drama of the Shanghai lockdowns, hopefully, knock on wood, are behind us. And hopefully we can just move forward from here. Elon won't be selling anymore. Shanghai will be open. Twitter will be done. We'll have a stock split. The economy should be getting better because we are in a recession. Isn't that weird to think about? But the point is you'll give supply a chance to catch up to demand. So I think we are in a place where hopefully we can start getting bullish right now. But it all takes everybody threading their needle. All right, just not screwing up, not doing anything silly, including us. All right, we have to be smart. We have to be diligent. We should not be making any snap decisions with our investments. All right, sometimes the best thing is to do nothing, and that is doing something. Don't think it's not. All right, don't be scared and say, oh, I got to sell everything, because history has shown you're better off letting your portfolio come down and letting it come back up rather than you selling out of everything, because you never get back in at the right time. Trust me, been there, done that. It's not fun. You just feel silly because you know that that's not what you should do. So don't be that person. All right, we're going to leave it there. You will see me tomorrow on a live stream. I've said it a couple times. I won't say it again. It's going to be a surprise. So if you caught it before, you know. But just keep an eye out there for some of these live streams. I'll be on one of them as a guest. So very excited about that. It's a good friend of mine. So I can't wait to be on there. So again, good luck, everybody, with tomorrow. It's going to be exciting. It's an exciting time, okay? It is exciting. Even though there's all this chaos around us, it's time to be excited, all right? You have to have optimism, all right? There has to be something we look forward to in the future. And for me, it's Elon, it's Tesla, it's SpaceX, it's Starlink, all right? It's autonomous vehicles, it's humanoids, right? It's space travel, right? Going to Mars, like this is what's exciting, all right? So that's where we want to be. We want to be excited. It's time to get excited. Enough with all this noise, enough with all the politics, enough with all the wars. It's time to think about the future and to make the world a better place. And that's what our investments do with companies like Tesla and SpaceX, all right? So I'm very bullish. I'm very excited. Thank you guys for sticking on. If you want to help the channel, do me a favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, see if you can find me tomorrow. Peace.